Hi everybody, welcome back to the Antisocial Planet, and today we are watching episodes 114 and 115 of Bleach. So last episode we got introduced to some more characters, this time some Arrancar. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that correctly. I'm sure that I'm not. I feel like I'm hitting the R's too hard, but we met a couple of those, which are, of course, hollows that are taking on Soul Reaper characteristics. Two of them showed up in Ichigo's hometown and are there because of Aizen sent them, and they're there for a specific person. Now, I feel like it's easy to be like, they're there because Ichigo's the main character. But I feel like it's probably his dad, like it's probably Isshin, because Isshin hasn't gone into Soul Reaper form for 20 years until recently, and I feel like it doesn't make sense for Aizen to suddenly be like, I'm gonna send some specific people to go and take care of Ichigo. I don't know, I just feel like maybe it should be for Isshin instead, especially since he seems to have a lot of power, and I feel like that would be more interesting to Aizen. Also, I don't know what Isshin's, like, connection is yet to the Soul Society. I have a feeling that he was a captain, so, and he knows Urahara, so I feel like it was a part of the Soul Society, he was in that group, which means he probably knows Aizen, too. So I feel like maybe there's some kind of history there, and I just don't know what it is yet, but I'll be interested to see what kind of backstory we get about Isshin and his time in the Soul Society. But we had Sado and Orihime, who were caught in the fighting with these two Arrancar, and they were trying to fight these two but didn't really have the power to do that, and Sado got really hurt, and I'm not okay with that happening. But Orihime was there to help heal him, which we learned is more like less of like a healing power and more of a like time-space manipulation, which I think is a really intriguing power set that she seems to have, and I look forward to kind of further exploring what she is capable of, because I feel like we haven't really explored Orihime's power set. Like, everyone who sees her use her abilities makes the remark that it's a very unusual set of powers that she has, but we haven't really like taken the time to fully explore what she's capable of, so hopefully we will get some of that soon. And at the very end of the last episode, we of course had Ichigo showing up at the last minute in true shonen protagonist fashion, as he tends to do. So it looks like we're going to get him fighting these Arrancar in the very next episode. So that's kind of like the big plot point things that are happening. We also have some new characters who are part of the Visored group of people who are Soul Reapers who are taking on hollow abilities. We met Shinji earlier on, but we kind of got to know him more as like a person, as a character. We met his sister, who seems a little bit intense, but Shinji having the very interesting characteristic of him really drawing a line between like hurting whoever to get what he wants and like taking the path of least resistance to get what he wants. Like he has this very like firm line between like attacking other people or using Ichigo's friends to like convert him, and then putting everything he has into converting Ichigo, because he wants Ichigo to join the Visored group. And he's just, it's an interesting characteristic for him to have, that after putting this group that he's in this very, you know, shady, negative light, and really painting them as antagonists, to then have him show that kind of moral compass is an interesting way of distinguishing him. And it's almost as if he feels like he's trapped in this group as opposed to like voluntarily being a part of it. So I think he'll be an intriguing character to like see how he grows, especially through his interactions with like Ichigo and his friends. We also got a few little revelations in terms of like Ichigo and his whole hollow being within him thing, in that like it's not something that only becomes an issue when he's in like these high stress near death experiences. Like we've kind of seen it manifest in those times. It's like a constant battle within his head, and I think that is like a more compelling way of building that inner conflict, like inner, because it's like actually inside of Ichigo. It's still like a character to character conflict, but it makes it like an ongoing issue, like an ongoing thing that Ichigo has to fight through, as opposed to just like something that inconveniences him at some points. Like he always has this voice in his head, he's always trying to fight it back, and it's really starting to take a toll on him. Like he has a very different demeanor, he seems exhausted, and he's, you know, just trying to manage having this going on inside of him, as well as like being a substitute Shinigami. So he's I feel like he's starting to get worn out a little bit with everything that is happening, and he's gonna have to try and master it somehow and deal with it in a more direct way. I don't know how he'll end up doing that, but it seems like it's really getting to a breaking point for him. So it looks like for episode 114 we are going to get into this fight between Ichigo and the Arrancar. I'm gonna be interested to see if Ishin gets involved, because he hasn't told Ichigo that he is a Soul Reaper and that he has all of this history with that. So I don't know how involved he's gonna get, but I do feel like he knows that it's happening, like he can feel the spirit pressure that's going on. So I feel like he'll get involved in some capacity, but I'm not entirely sure how directly. But let's just get into episode 114 and see what happens. In 3, 2, 1, go. And you know, I'm just gonna get Totoro now, because y'all have told me in the comments that I'm probably just gonna need him. Gonna need it for the foreseeable future. I've been told that this is kind of when the plot and stuff kind of really picks up, and I know we have a fight, and I always get stressed out when we have fights. And I remember in the preview from last episode that Ichigo didn't look like he was doing terribly well in this fight. So I'm just gonna have Totoro to start. We'll just go in prepared, you know? And if we don't need it, that's fine too. I wonder if we're going to see Hollow Ichigo at some point in this. Because I remember in the preview too, there was like implying that he was kind of struggling with it during the fight. But I don't know if that means it's gonna like take over during the fight. Okay. Ooh, this is way back. It was like first episode footage. Oh, don't feel bad. You tried really hard. Ooh, just going for it. He's like, let's power all the way up. I appreciate that, though. You don't need to play around. Oh? How's it different? Yeah. It, it's a little intense when he goes to his Bankai release. Oh, so they are here for Ichigo. I was wrong then. Ugh, look how unfazed he was at that point. Ooh. Wow. Yeah, Aizen seems to have a lot of power. He really didn't seem phased by Ichigo. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh-oh. I fully believe that. Hollow Ichigo seems to also have a lot of power, but I feel like he also doesn't hold back as much. Like, Ichigo doesn't really want to kill people, whereas, like the hollow in him. No! You leave Orihime alone! See, like, even now, Ichigo's, like, trying to protect Orihime. Which I feel like the hollow wouldn't. He would just go all out, right? Ugh. Uh-oh. I don't feel like denying is the way. You're gonna have to deal with it. You can't just pretend it's not there. Is it more than yours? That's an interesting thing to keep in mind. Ugh. I don't like throwing him around like he's a doll. Uh-oh. The red is usually... Ooh. Hey guys! Yoruichi! Urahara! Beat him up! Aw. Ooh! Ooh! She's amazing. Are we just not gonna acknowledge that there's another one? Aww. Even that moment, she's like worrying about other people. What's that? Who said anything about dodging? Yes, I want to see Urahara fight more. Ooh. Look who's getting involved. Guess Urahara is worth his attention. Ooh. Ooh, I like the strings and the music that just came on. What was her mission then? Oh. You're not trash, Ichigo. Aww. Yeah, I noticed that she had a little bit of a moment right after she was done fighting. Is she okay? I mean, she's eating enough. I mean, that's me with ramen too. Girl, where are you putting it? Look how tiny you are. Why are we focusing on this shot for so long? I'm like, I get it. Ooh, I get it. She's eating a lot. Hey, what's wrong with your arms and legs? I want ramen now. Cone. Why did you crash through the window? Oh no! Why didn't you just open it? Aw. Gon's trying so hard to cheer him up. To get some kind of like emotional reaction out of Ichigo. It's cute. Oh no. It's okay, Ichigo. You'll figure it out. I believe in you. How's my boy? Is he okay? He's a fighter, so I'm sure he's doing okay. Oh. Everybody seems so serious and somber. It worries me. Absent for 5 days. They're just like all injured. That's probably going to draw some interest, like some attention, right? Oh. Oh. I mean, I think it's probably because you're not weak that people are interested in your existence. But I understand how your guilt trip is working. I don't like seeing Ichigo disheartened. Because I'm so used to him having that, like, being, like, positive that he can do something. And having him have so much doubt is, like, unsettling. Is that Toshiro with them too? Ah! Renji! Ah! Ikagu! I love it's always his shiny head. No, cause a disturbance. I think everybody knows that you're there at this point. Hey! I love how Ichigo, like, doesn't use honorifics with, like, any of them. Even Byakuya, he's just like... That happens a lot. He usually doesn't know what's going on. He's not terribly observant. Rukia! Aw. I hope she lifts his spirits. Ah! I'm so excited they're all there. We're gonna get, like, some school slice of life. With a bunch of Soul Reapers. Oh, it's gonna be awful for, like, Ishida, though, because Ishida is like, I'm not gonna get involved with Soul Reapers anymore. And now there's, like, a bunch of them. I mean, he hasn't been to school, so maybe he's just, like, not going while he's training with his dad, but, like, it's gonna be a little bit difficult if he does show up again, and there's just, like, a bunch of Soul Reapers. I also like that Ikaga just has, like, a wooden sword because he's not allowed to have a real one. And he's just like, well, I gotta have a sword with me. I hope that them being there, though, lifts Ichigo's spirits, though, because I don't like seeing him so doubtful of himself. What's our preview? Oh no! She's gonna... I don't want Cone being anywhere near Tashiro's lieutenant. So that wasn't as intense as I feared it was gonna be, and I think that was mostly because it was kind of like a preview, you know, because these are for the first, like, I mean, I guess Grand Fisher was also an Arrancar, but like, this is the first kind of like introduction to these characters. I'm assuming we're going to see these two Arrancar again, like they're gonna show up again. So it's kind of like just showing what they're capable of and showing the like power difference between Ichigo and his friends and what Aizen has at his disposal to send. So we got to see the gang beat up a little bit. I liked that Urahara and Yoroichi showed up to kind of flex a little bit. I like how they showed up and they were kind of like shrugging off these enemies a little bit. I do want to see Urahara fight all out at some point, because I would love to just see what kind of tricks and techniques that he has going on. I feel like we're not done with those characters and they're gonna come back and we'll get to see really what they're capable of, but I feel like because we're starting a new arc, we kind of have to establish where everyone is at, and this episode was like, okay, here's what all the characters are capable of, here's the difference, you know, between like Aizen's army that he's amassing and like where our characters are at. We gotta like close that distance, right? We have to train to a point where, you know, Ichigo and his friends can hold their own against these Arrancar. So I feel like that's kind of what this episode was for, and also I feel like to further build up like the struggle that Ichigo is going through. Like, he really just seems so depressed and without like a lot of motivation and hope. Like, he has so much self-doubt right now, and I feel like he's gonna have to find a way to move past that. And I hope that having like Rukia and all of the other survivors from the Soul Society around will, you know, one, liven things up in his life. I'm sure things are going to get a little bit more complicated with having all of these people around, but also that they'll just be there to like support him, both from a friendship perspective. Like, I feel like Rukia and like Ikagu will be good kind of supports from like a friend thing, and also like Renji, but hopefully he can get some support from like a training and being able to deal with the hollow that is within him, being able to kind of work through that process, because at the moment he's really denying it. He's like suppressing it and trying to ignore it, and I feel like that, I mean, that's never a good idea with like anything internal. Like, being possessed by hollows aside, like any kind of internal issue, if you just push it down and ignore it, it's not gonna get better, it's just gonna build up to a point of breaking. So I think he really has to find a way of working with the hollow. I mean, if we can't get rid of it, he has to find a way to work with it. I feel like that's a lot like what he did with Zangetsu, where he, you know, he was kind of just using his Zanpakuto, and he wasn't really acknowledging that Zangetsu was like also part of that, and like he had to build a relationship of like being partners and working together with Zangetsu. So I feel like we're gonna have to have a similar process with this hollow. It's probably not going to be as easy, which is like a little bit shocking, because building that relationship with Zangetsu wasn't easy either, and it took a while. But I feel like because the hollow like doesn't want to work with Ichigo, like he doesn't want to have that partnership, he doesn't want what's best for Ichigo, like he just wants to take over the body and use it for himself. So I think there's going to be a long process of like the two of them, you know, fighting over who has control of Ichigo's body until we like really get to a point where they can work together. I hope it works out. I hope Ichigo can kind of get some of his spunk back, his attitude back, because part of the thing that I I really like about Ichigo is that he has this optimism, and it's not like a childish optimism. It's not like what I'm used to seeing with a lot of shonen or just action anime protagonists. I think of Gon from Hunter x Hunter specifically, where he was like he's very optimistic and childish, and he kind of, well, I mean, he progresses throughout the show, but you know, he starts off just kind of making friends with everyone, and he sees the bright side to everything. And like Ichigo has always been kind of a little bit of a cynic, and he has kind of this dry humor, and he's very realistic in the way that he looks at the world, but he's optimistic despite that. Like he knows what the world is, and he knows what he's capable of, and he still just like pushes through. He's like, I have to deal with this thing, like I have to deal with this issue that's in front of me, so I'm just gonna push through. I'm just gonna do what I can and make it happen because I have to. And now he's very much like, I can't do it. I'm not strong enough. I'm too weak. I don't have what it takes to do this. And that's very much not what I'm used to hearing and seeing in Ichigo. So I hope that having Rukia and friends around will help him kind of get back into that mindset and help him kind of deal with all the stuff that's going on with him. But let's just get into episode 115, and we'll see what chaos ensues with all of these Soul Reapers being in high school together. In 3, 2, 1, go. I'm gonna have to talk like softer during this one because people are trying to like sleep in my house. I'm hoping that because it's just sort of focusing on Soul Reapers like coming to the school, that we're gonna get some humor with this one and I won't need Totoro, but I've been fooled into false senses of security before. I hope they help Ichigo work through his stuff. I'm excited that Rukia is back. I miss her. And I feel like she's gonna be like more herself than she was for a lot of the Soul Society arc. Who's narrating this? Is it Urahara? Yeah. He is not trash. I will not have you speaking about my boy like that. Things are about to get chaotic. I can feel it. The look on his face. Yeah. everybody's kind of getting their pieces in the right places, right? For this fight that's gonna happen. Hmm? I'm so happy that she's back. I mean, only for like probably a little while, but. Like how all the rest of the class is like also there. Yeah, I was gonna. I'm like, is she gonna kick him? Oh! Oh no. Yeah, I'm like, there are other classmates there that they're gonna have to try to explain this to. Hey, Arenchi is really nice. I just dropped him. Oh no, Toshiro. Why does his spirit still have the bandages? I guess he got hurt while he was in spirit form, so. Rukia's like tough love is amazing. Especially for someone like Ichigo, who needs someone to just be like, stop moping around. Come on, you got this. You can do a hollow. Uh-oh. Oh. See, like, he was never afraid of losing before. Aww. I knew she would get, she would get to him. In a good way. I mean, obviously, that's not like the end of it, because he's gonna have to like work through some stuff, but like. I thought she just like dragged him. See, that's more the Ichigo I know. Ah, it's so cute. Yeah, you've got some new students. I don't know if Matsumoto being in a high school wearing a uniform like that is the right thing for her to be doing. I mean, she could stand up to herself, but like there's gonna be a lot of gags about that. Gold will be happy. Ooh. I like how they're listening in, and it's just Ichigo and Rukia arguing. Keden and Ichigo are just like trying to put up with their family. I see in the closet. No. Did Ichigo's dad know that Rukia was living there from the beginning? I missed her pictures. Have new captains been chosen to replace the 3 that left? I was gonna say, where's Toshiro? That is what it sounds like he's saying. Oh? Okay. Small fry? Okay. So we're leveling up a little bit. Okay, so they control the lower ones. Well, that can't be good. It would be bad. So are those two that we saw before this, like, highest class? Because he has, like, the horn on what's left of his hollow mask. Oh, there's some other people. $20? Didn't Toshido say that, like, 10 was bad? Oh dear. So, slight obstacle that they're gonna have to, get past, huh? Where are all the Soul Reapers from the Soul Society gonna stay? Hopefully not at Ichigo's house. There's a lot of people to cram into his room. Will they stay with Urahara? Will they stay somewhere else? Ooh, are we gonna meet some of them? So I feel like this episode too, with the exception of Ichigo kind of getting past some of his, like, self-doubt and all of that, was a lot of like setup again. Like I feel like these last couple of episodes, I mean, the first episode that we watched today was like a little bit more action at the beginning, but like this one feels a lot more like trying to set up a bunch of information, a bunch of stuff that's gonna be like relevant following, you know, into the next couple of episodes. So we had Rukia getting Ichigo back into fighting shape, at least giving him back his determination and his confidence in himself with some tough love by kicking him in the direction of the closest hollow. I love that. I love that she get into his brain. I really appreciate her being, and her getting to see her be herself again, like have her becoming who she was before all of the stuff with the Soul Society arc kind of brought her down. And I like that, you know, at her lowest point, she had Ichigo to come and help her, and at Ichigo's lowest point, he had Rukia to come and help him. So they both kind of have, they both always have each other's back, and that's just such a sweet thing that they have. I love their friendship. It's so cute. Getting all of these new characters kind of into the story, we had some humor with all of these characters, kind of the Soul Reapers and the classmates, kind of their existences coming together and letting humor ensue, which I think is needed. I feel like it's a good moment to like lean into that humor, because there was a lot of like information, I felt like, as well, and I feel also as if some more intense stuff is about to start happening, so you kind of have to take humor where you can get it, right, to kind of relieve some of the tension and not always be focusing on like the darker elements of what the plot was. So, you know, biggest thing that we learned was about the Menos, how there are like different levels. There are 3 of them, and the ones that we have seen, or that Ichigo has fought mostly, have been the lowest ones, and then there's kind of like a middle ground that control the lower ones, and then there's the highest one, which are stronger than captains, as Toshiro pointed out, and said himself that if Aizen has control over those ones, because they're about the size of human and they have all this intelligence and stuff, that if Aizen has at least 10 of those under his control, that it would be the end of the Soul Society. I feel like that would cause them a lot of issues because they're so strong, and there were only, what, 13 captains, 3 of them left, you know, Aizen, Gin, and Tosen, so there are only 10 probably. I don't know if they replaced the captains that were missing. I don't think enough time has passed, because you have to have a bunch of training, right, to get a captain's spot. So I don't know if it'd be easy to replace a captain, and if they'd be able to do that. So it means they have 10 left, which means if there are 10 of these higher Menos, then, you know, they can take out one of the captains each at least. And we saw at the very end of the episode that Aizen said, you have 20, talk in front of your 20 brothers. So there are at least 20 of them under Aizen's control, which means that the Soul Society really has something to worry about, and they're gonna have to do something a little bit more creative than just fighting, like sending captains out to fight them. They're gonna have to, I think, be willing to take help where they can get it, and, you know, make temporary alliances to actually win against Aizen's forces, especially since Aizen was a member of the Soul Society. Same with Gin, same with Tosen. They know the Soul Society, they know how it works, they know the power set of a lot of the people. Like, I assume Aizen has done his research, like he knows how powerful the other captains are, he knows what they're capable of, what they aren't capable of, and can plan and strategize according to that knowledge that he has. Not to mention, he already has a lot of power himself. Like, he's already proven that he's a very, very powerful adversary. So I feel like he definitely knows what he's doing, and considering that he has been planning this for a long time, I think he has a extreme advantage on the Soul Society, because the Soul Society got blindsided by this. The Soul Society didn't know that this was coming at all, and they're really just trying to catch up to Aizen's plan, whereas Aizen has been at this for years. So I feel like these episodes are really setting up the stakes. This is where Aizen is at, this is where the Soul Society is at, and there's a huge power difference in those two groups, and I feel like that is really why there's gonna have to be some kind of negotiation to figure out how they're gonna get the power that they need. And I don't know if that's gonna be going to Urahara. Urahara has some people that he knows, people like Ishin and Yoruichi, like people who have been cast out of the Soul Society that have a lot of power, and kind of working with them to kind of bump up their power. Are they going to find a way to team up with Vizard? Because that's another group that we've had, so I think it'll depend on like which side of that fight Vizard ends up on. Like if they end up on Aizen's side, if they end up on the Soul Society's side, if they end up on their own side. I don't know what kind of manpower they have, but I feel like they could be a shifting force in that too. Like whether or not Aizen has to fight both of them, regardless if they're teamed together, like if Vizard and Soul Society are working together or not, if Aizen has to be opposed to both of those, then maybe his power will be like spread out a little bit more, and that'll give both of those groups opposing him a little bit of an advantage. I don't know. I mean, every time we see Aizen, he has some new trick up his sleeve. He has some new power at his disposal, so I really don't know how much he's keeping back, you know, like what tricks he has just as backup, just in case, you know. So it looks like in the next episode we're going to meet some more of these Menos that have sided with Aizen, some of these really strong ones that are going to be coming to the living world, and I guess we're going to see some of what they're capable of and what our gang is going to do in response to that. I feel like I'm gonna need Totoro quite a bit in the next video. I feel like it's gonna get intense really, really quickly. Just a hypothesis of mine. But I hope you enjoyed watching these episodes along with me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!